Hey guys, so I debated on what kind of video I wanted to do for E3 since a lot of information for Gears 5 is going to be presented there, and I think this way is going to be better than me just posting my reactions because my reactions were really just me gripping at my face for 10 minutes. It wasn't really much in the way of anything audible or truly exciting. So, Gears 5 at E3 this year, it showed a few things. One will be a teaser trailer for the campaign that shows Kate's conflicted choices that are coming up in the campaign between the Swarm and Mankind, and it really shows her just kind of gripping the back and forth, kind of the good and evil, the impacts of the past, and everything like that. It looks really cool what they show it off, and I do dig that they didn't really show off much in the way of gameplay just for the sake of letting that be showed off later when they can dedicate more time to it, and as well not spoil too much, as we see, like, you know, Hollywood movies and everything that love to spoil everything in the trailers. Secondly, they showed a new co-op mode, and this has got to be the most exciting thing for me, called Escape Mode. It is a 3-player co-op mode that instead of you holding off against the Horde in a base, it's more you're jumping into the base and you're getting out, and it seems like it's a super cool concept. There's a lot of new features, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later. And then thirdly, we ended up getting the release dates for Gears 5 as a whole, as well as then a multiplayer beta that's going to be out in July, and then Horde is going to have a test in August, all of which I am insanely excited for, and that's what I wanted to go over with this video. This is what the announcement showed mean to me, as far as me as a content creator and what I see going forward into Gears 5. These are the biggest things that had an impact on me. Number one, this is co-op that we asked for thoroughly, and what I mean by that is there was a panel that Chaps of TACCOM ran where it was him, the one gunman, the Razored Edge, and myself, and we rambled on for like 2 hours on a whole bunch of cool ideas. We were all super enthusiastic in what we all had for Horde, and one of them that Razored Edge in particular came up with, and me and him kind of fired back and forth with for a little while, if I recall correctly, it involved moving in, like, not necessarily sitting in a base for Horde, like getting a lot of movement, things to get you outside of that base, and something different than that hold off tower defense system that we've had since Gears 2. Escape seems to be essentially that. It very much just, yeah, that's pretty much exactly what he said in a nutshell. Like, the Escape is almost a direct reflection of those things that we were talking about, and he mentioned it and I mentioned it on Twitter, and I got chills just thinking like, oh my god, this is kind of spot on what we were mentioning, and they threw their own twists and their liberties, but like, yeah, that's it, there it is. But also alongside of that, for more me personally, I constantly talk about Uncharted co-op in stream, and I mean Uncharted, the PlayStation games, Uncharted 2 and Uncharted 3 in particular on the PlayStation 3. This is because of how much I played and love these games for both their multiplayer, but more importantly, their co-op in both of these titles in particular. Uncharted 4 went more of the route of, they kind of mimicked Gears in a way, versus having their own independent thing, and that's not really what I'm referring to here. They had more of a thing called co-op adventures, which were basically little stories involving 3 players fighting through onslaughts of enemies and taking on a small little escapade with the Uncharted crew. They were difficult, they were intense, but they were a lot of fun. And like, I can just recall me and a buddy, we would just jump on every single day, and we would start the day off by just trying to beat one of these on the hardest difficulty. And sometimes we succeeded, a lot of times we failed because they were brutally difficult. But it was such a blast, and it made for such a good co-op experience. Like, I always ask my viewers to talk about those moments that really defined you as a gamer, and there were several of them in those co-op moments in Uncharted. And I talk a lot about this because it makes me sad that I didn't get to make the content that I wanted to back in 2009, 2011. I was just getting out of high school. I was just like a dumb teenager, and I didn't realize that I could have made a legitimate career out of gaming like we see now, like it's so relevant, like I'm doing, and now here I am. And it'd be a bit too difficult, and it wouldn't really gain that much if I went back to them now. Especially, there was a recent news article talking about how the servers for Uncharted are going to be taken down here fairly soon, which is sad to see, but you know, the games are pretty darn old at this point. So I feel like Uncharted was kind of the game franchise that got away from me. So to see Escape be basically the exact thing I've moaned about for so long now. Like, it just hits me so personally in such a good way. Like, I don't know if the coalition was listening to my moaning and my whining and everything like that, but it sure feels like it. Number 2 is the Gears and the Coalition Partner Program. Now, this wasn't really mentioned in the Gears presentation at all, but if you guys don't know what the Partner Program is, it was launched earlier this year where content creators can be partnered with Gears, and it basically just helps both parties grow their respective businesses. The partners end up helping grow Gears of War and help maintain their communities. The Gears of War and the Coalition help grow the channels, so on and so forth. It's a mutual thing. Now, while nothing was shown this year, there was a little moment that Rod mentioned in the IGN interview about E-League.
And what I love about it is Rose and her team, the way that they're doing the content is really about not just focusing on the gameplay, but it's actually focused on the players and the fans, and getting to see how players' journeys go from, you know, maybe tough times to now they're having great success as a player, and what Gears of War means to them beyond, you know, this entertainment, you know, game. It's actually something that they're making a living at, or it gave them some structure, or it gave them a community, and it gave them a friend group. And
sure, he's talking about the pro players here, but the way he said that, like how a lot of players are struggling to get by and now they're making a career out of this game, like this thing that they just had fun with back in the day, like they had fun with it in Gears 1, Gears 2, Gears 3, is now their livelihood, is now their full-blown job. And I know that's the same mentality he's going to be throwing into the content creator section of this too. Just him saying that the way he did makes me incredibly excited to see what they're going to do with Gears 5 in that regard, and what that means for me and the tons of other content creators that are around this game. It's super exciting. Number 3 is this screenshot right here. As you can tell, this is going to be, it seems a little bit arbitrary, but these are the things that really got me excited. Now, again, this wasn't really in the presentation itself, but this screenshot was released for Gears 5 and with all the news around E3, and this shows Kate and Del in a res desert on this glider with Jack and everything, and it completely ignores the complaints of those who are wanting Gears 5 to go back to nothing but dark and gray environments. I want my game to be bland, I want it to be dark, that's the Gears that I know. So they completely ignored that 100%, and I love the way this looks. More so, I think it's a great example of showing that Gears is going to be very different, and I love that. I'm a huge advocate for progressive change and people taking risks to try out something new, even if it fails, to just try something different and change up the formula so we don't have the same monotonous drudge every single year in and year out, you know? And it looks like Kate and Del are going to have like this really vast adventure, from the ice areas that we saw last year to the hives to this desert. Like, I am loving the variety, and I'm crazy excited about that. If you throw in the fact that this looks like we're going to see Kate also go through some really deep conflicts, so we're kind of seeing a lot of change externally and then a lot of conflict internally, I think that's really cool. It seems like the game might be hitting a stronger, more consistent tone than it ever has. And what I mean by that is, like, go back to Gears 1. Gears 1 is the best example I've got, where you have, like, look at the Mad World trailer.
The dreams in which I'm dying are the best I've ever had.
And then look at the credits where you're getting that song from Cole at the end, and how there is that.
Bring it on, sucker. This my kind of shit.
It's very inconsistent in a way, as far as the general tone that Gears was trying to bring back in the day. And it seems like they're really pushing it into a much stronger feel with Gears 5. And in my opinion, I'm thoroughly confident that this could be the best campaign we've seen in Gears so far. Number 4 would be all of the elements of escape and co-op, which I'm throwing a ton of stuff into one point here, but there's just a whole lot of small things to unpack in one big theme. There's the different classes, there's character-based abilities, where they mentioned like how you have the 3 Hivebusters initially, but Kate, Del, JD, so on. There will be more characters coming to escape, and they did say with their unique abilities as well. I'm hoping that means that each individual character brings something a little bit different to the table. I will see whenever it comes out and whenever we start getting more of this post-launch content. But then there's also executable uses of abilities and all of that stuff, like the lightning knife. Oh my god. There's stealth kills on the DBs. There's new weapons and items to use. And then the biggest thing when I was thinking about it was the fact that they mentioned modifiers. So I really came in on the Gears 4 Horde bus in terms of being a content creator. I've been around Horde, I mean, since Gears 2, since the launch of it, of course, that when everybody did. And I heard a lot of people talking about in the Gears content creator community how they really wanted to get modifiers. And on top of a few of these other things, like I've mentioned them, I've heard like Chaps mention things, Gunman, like a lot of people that do Horde, and there's only a few of us Horde and co-op players around, and I'm seeing a lot of our suggestions actually get implemented, which that means two big things. One, the coalition is listening and delivering on that, and two, we have some power here, yo. Like with them listening and delivering to the like on some of these points that we're talking about, it really shows like what we ourselves can do to shape the future of this game that we love, and that is huge. It's huge. And number 5, the last point that I wanted to go over was a tiny little comment that Rod mentioned during the presentation of community created maps. And this was the biggest one for me. That tiny little comment, and I didn't even catch it in the first time around when he said it. We were rewatching everything on stream and I ended up catching it there. But that means we have a potentially unlimited stream of maps and things that we can play. For us co-op and Horde content creators, that means we have nearly unlimited content to make. Like, to be honest, like that kind of freaks me out a bit in a really good way. So many ideas are already flooding in my mind of what I can make, and my optimism for Gears 5 and what I can do for the community is sky high after that, because we have a means to unlimited content to make. Like, I don't have to fish for ideas and try and like strategize out little card builds and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong, I've enjoyed it with Gears 4, but like, it's gonna be so much easier, and there's gonna be so much more potential for some really awesome content out of this. And with a few of us being on co-op currently, like we've got to be the ones to lead the front here, which for me that means that like I've got to personally bust my ass and be relentless with making content. I'm currently reading through this book, and I read through a lot of like motivational books or like self-help books and stuff like that. This one in particular is really digging in deep. It's called Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. And if you don't know David Goggins, like pull him up on YouTube. It's worth your time. And Goggins talks a ton about like callousing your mind, being like a hardcore MFer and going all out on what you want to do in life and just pushing through the pain, using like, he goes into like using darkness to fuel you and everything like that. All this like really hard stuff. And I think now more than ever that is fitting for me. Like, I'm gonna have to cut out so much laziness and gluttony out of my life in order to make sure that I'm fulfilling this role for you guys, and I'm getting everything done that I need to with Gears 4 and be settled at a point for the next 3 months on what I'm making for Gears 4, then make everything for Gears 5 and what a future lies for me there. And like, I think my life is gonna get really intense here soon, and I am so pumped for it. And like, honestly, I hope I do answer this call fully for you guys. From Gears 4, I learned so much about making content and a lot about myself in regards to what I want to do with streaming and making videos and social media growth and all of this stuff. And basically it all like is driving my life in a particular direction. So with Gears 5, it's basically like, you know, with Gears 4, the attention was already a bit waned on me being in Horde, and me coming in a bit late with making videos on Horde have all kind of like made for me not really being in this channel, in this community, not really having much of a spotlight. Now we have Gears 5. Now we have the opportunity for unlimited content. Now we see the developers are listening to us. Now we got partner programs. Like, we got all this stuff. And Like the possibilities are really endless, and we're gonna have the spotlight on us, and it's so intense to think about. And I'm just like, if you can't tell by the way I'm narrating over this video, like I am so excited about this. And that's why I wanted to record this video afterwards, is because I just needed to write this all down and like rehearse it to you guys this way. Gears 5 and what they showed at E3 means a lot more than just a new fun game to play. Like, as a content creator who's always looking to find a game to commit to, be addicted to, and grow a career with, something to really dig my claws into, it feels like I took some good steps when I decided to pick up Horde and start streaming this regularly, starting in November 16th. And I've been streaming it constantly until I started uploading videos in April of 2018. And like, here we are now. Like, here we are at this really wide open tunnel, and I really don't know what it's going to bring. And when the pressure and attention's on, I don't know how this is gonna go. Like, I don't know how this is gonna age, but like right now my mind is telling me like, this is it, man. Like this is it. And I'm kind of teary-eyed about it, and God, like, I hope it's not bleeding through the microphone here, but I hope I can bust my ass and make a lot of great content for you guys. And I hope a lot of you guys want to join in on helping make this content and help grow this community to what I think can be an absolute amazing level of just people and growth and love and camaraderie and just some good freaking fun. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, do the like, comment, sub, share, do all those things that help out with engagement, and so I can eventually get ad revenue on YouTube. I don't know, I'm being transparent here. But seriously, thank you guys so much for everything. More videos to come soon, and until next time, stay thirsty, my friends. I think I'm gonna go cry somewhere.